What's up, guys? Fantard here to talk about basically MMA, UFC, and everything that's going around in the MMA world, how things are changing for the UFC. So the UFC sold for $4 billion to a company called WME-IMG. Who the fuck are those guys? I have no idea. I know there's some talent-based industry. That's all I know. But what do you guys think about this new ownership? Is it a good thing or a bad thing? See, I could see it going both ways of either skyrocketing the UFC or just completely like frustrating the fans and frustrating the fighters even more. Here's my question though, and if this does happen, then I probably will see it as a good thing. What happens with the Reebok deal? That deal that Reebok did, does that still stand? That has to still stand, right? With Zuffa? I gotta look into the details of that. I'm trying to look up, see if anything happened with the Reebok deal. If that's the case, then that contract is still gonna stand, and the new company might just hold it up. But it'd be really interesting if they look at contract negotiations and discuss it with the new ownership, and to see if the money that the fighters are being paid is going to be changed up or some way. Because I really hope that Reebok can kind of like maybe give some more money to the fighters, because we know they're kind of getting screwed over right now without them getting their sponsorships. They're getting a lot paid less than probably a couple years back when they did have their sponsorships, which is one thing I did not agree with, and a majority of fighters did not agree with, and it caused a couple of people to leave. So that's probably one good thing. One thing that I hope might happen. I don't think it's going to happen because a contract's a contract. Reebok's probably going to stick with the UFC. Who knows if there are going to be any contract negotiations with this new company, but there's not much to know about this company. I tried looking into it, and they're just a talent-based interesting, but whatever. As far as Dana White goes, he's still going to stay as president, which I'm glad that's happening. You know, a lot of problems that I had with the UFC was probably stemmed from Lorenzo Fertitta and him and his casino bad boy mobster ways. But as far as ownership goes, we don't know what the fuck's going to happen. I do fear some things. Some things I hope do change. But let's hope for a positive outlook, and I hope the UFC goes in the right direction. Let's talk about UFC 200. Fuck, man. UFC 200 was, in one word, underwhelming. It was not that good. For all the hype, it was just so disappointing. Okay, two good fights worth mentioning. I did live reactions to the fights. I put them up on my channel, but I recorded at least 5 videos, and only 2 of them were live reaction worthy, and that's the Tate Nunes one and the Cain Velasquez versus Travis Brown fight. I was jumping up all over the place. Now, that doesn't mean the other fights are boring. They just weren't live reaction worthy. They were just me analyzing the fights, and no one wants to see that. That's boring as hell. Before the hype and all the distractions, it was just kind of a letdown. Aldo Frankie fight, it was a good fight, but it wasn't the war I was expecting. It was Aldo mainly fighting the smart fight and him fighting at the right moments for him to steal the rounds. That's what I felt like the fight was going in. And even though I'm a huge Frankie Edgar fan, they both pretty much, if we look at paper, they landed equal amount of shots, but Aldo did more damage and he controlled the fight. He wasn't able to Frankie couldn't take him down at all. That threw me off. Like, I knew Aldo's takedown defense was legendary, but man, that's like new level takedown defense. So, disappointed with that. I was like, oh man, Frankie lost. But that fight still felt a little like, what should I say, lackluster? But who knows? I guess Aldo was fighting a little smarter, which I'm glad. You know, he's one of his best featherweight out there. I still think he's better than Conor McGregor. But man, I just felt like something was missing. And then the Mark Hunt and the Brock Lesnar fight, I was disappointed with that. Brock Lesnar did his thing, but Mark Hunt, what's up, man? He wasn't on the attack. He looked very hesitant, not trying to take off Brock Lesnar's head off. He had many chances to when Brock Lesnar would shoot down, didn't get him. I was just like, oh, come on, Hunt, go after him, you know? And what I said in my prediction video for that was that if this were Brock Lesnar 6 years ago, I think he takes Mark Hunt, but Lesnar looked a lot better than what I expected him. And there's a reason for that. I'll get into that in a little. And then Tate and Nunes, they did their thing. Cormier, Anderson, What do you expect Cormier to do though? You want him to strike with one of the best strikers in the world and risk getting knocked out? He almost got finished in that last round with that liver kick. That looked deadly. But he did what he had to do, but it is what it is. And I feel bad for Cormier because he got his money cut in half to just from $1 million to $500,000. That's fucking bullshit. And fuck John Jones. Yeah, I did a rant video on that. But this whole like chain of events of all distractions and cheating and anti-doping has just put a whole it's just UFC 200 kind of feels like a joke, and it felt like it's been a joke for a while, even before all this hoopla started. I mean, it felt like they went at this the wrong way, and it went for like they tried doing too much celebrity stars, and you don't get any substance. You just get a bunch of hype, but you don't get substance. Put fighters that are trustworthy, that are great fighters who are going to bring it. Here's what you should have put on the card. Robbie Lawler fighting Tyron, because Robbie's going to bring it. Dos Anjos versus Alvarez. That would have been awesome to see on that card. Why wasn't that on it? Why wasn't Dos Anjos in this fight card? That would have been awesome. Instead, you got Hunt versus Lesnar, and then you have John Jones flaking out on the freaking fight with this whole anti-doping situation, and then you bring Anderson Silva, who's over 40 years old and is way past his prime. And Cormier, you got him playing it safe because, he has to kind of play it safe. You can't really blame him for that. It's his life. It's his money. I can't blame him for that. The prelims, I thought, were better than the main card. Outside of Cain Velasquez versus Travis Brown and Tate and Nunes, the rest was very lackluster. And everything on UFC 200 was so distraction. And I'm not going to go and say, oh, well, no, they regret taking Conor McGregor off the card. No, fuck that bullshit. Conor McGregor and Nate Diaz headlining UFC 200 is a joke in itself. That fight is nothing more than Conor McGregor stroking his ego and him getting revenge for him just losing that fight 2 classes above his weight division. It makes no sense. There's no need for that fight. It's just Conor McGregor stroking his ego. He got his little heart hurt, so now he has to fight Nate Diaz. That's a non-title fight. You're going to make that the headline for UFC 200. See, even back then when they were trying to do that, you knew they're trying to make this more celebrity-based instead of putting actual substance behind the fights. Yeah, we know Conor McGregor's an excellent fighter. Nate Diaz, excellent fighter, but that's more Conor. They're putting him at the headline who doesn't have a UFC title. There's no UFC title on the line. They just fought. Conor lost. He got tapped out. They just fought. There's no title. Why are they making that the headline of the UFC 200 in the first place? Doesn't make any sense. On top of that, Conor flaked out. So I'm not going to go ahead and say, oh, they should have kept Conor McGregor on the card, because no, that was a bullshit fight to put for UFC 200 in the first place. And then, of course, John Jones. Fuck John Jones. It's just this whole 200 thing has just been so underwhelming and so disappointing. I can name more cards that are way better than this, or way more exciting, and that brought actual substance. And then Brock Lesnar, of course, he got caught with anti-doping violation, and then Brock Lesnar even said this. I quote, I'm paraphrasing him. He's like, I'm a white boy who's jacked. Deal with it. I've been dealing with this my whole life. Basically saying he doesn't give a fuck about this. He got caught cheating. Who cares? And I'm pretty sure he was probably cheating back then in his MMA career before the drug testing was up to its limits. Because the drug testing was shit compared to how it is now. It's maybe too good for its own. It's too strong for its own good, maybe. But I like this because you're getting a lot of people. You're gonna equal the ground now with this level of drug testing, which I love. USADA, keep doing what you're doing, but USADA, maybe you should be a little more organizing when you announce when these guys are fucking cheating, so that the other fighter doesn't get screwed over of being cheated out of. Because Hunt basically got screwed over. Even Hunt has been complaining, like, what the fuck's up with this? Why are they letting this guy fight in the first place? Why are they giving him a pass? It's because of celebrity status. Hello? That's why UFC 200 was just going for the numbers. And I went in because I bought this card because of Cain Velasquez, Frankie Edgar. That's why. The two of my favorite fighters. Cain Velasquez. Shh! Hey! Shut up! Shh! Quiet. Stop, won't shut up. Oh, God. I'm gonna have to edit this stuff out. Chico. But UFC 200 kind of felt like a disappointment. Cain Velasquez pulled through, one of my favorite fighters, favorite heavyweight. Frank Yeager couldn't pull through, but the rest was like, meh. It felt like it was very underdeveloped, and not underdeveloped, just underwhelming. It just I wasn't jumping up as much as I should have. I made 5 other videos of me reacting, and I only could put up 2 of them because the rest weren't meh. And the UFC has no one else to blame but themselves because they just went for the numbers. They hoard themselves out. That's basically it. What damn? Seriously? Why does he come back inside? Why does he come back inside? Tell the dog to shut up, make a video. But yeah, this whole thing. God, guys. Shh. Tell him to shut up. I can't. Go, guys, go. Gosh, this takes a while. Alright, so that's my thoughts on UFC 200. I'm kind of regretting buying it, but whatever. Hindsight 2020. What the fuck can you do? Now, as far as for the future of MMA, I don't know where it's going to go. I'm really looking forward to some fights. I really wanted to see McGregor versus Edgar, but it looks like we're going to get McGregor versus Aldo. I'll probably make prediction videos for Aldo and McGregor down the line, but then when I get back from some out-of-town stuff, I'll probably record McGregor versus Nate Diaz prediction. I have a feeling McGregor might win, but who knows. That's it, guys, for my UFC discussion video. I'm out.